Hey, buenos dias, amigos. It's Friday morning, and I just got done with a live stream talking to you guys. So now I'm out here in the garage. I figured I might bring you guys up to speed as far as what's going on in my little reality. You guys have probably noticed I haven't done anything on the IRONHEAD in a little while. I was doing pretty good, putting out consistent content about the IRONHEAD chopper saga, and now we're kind of at a standstill right now, and I'm going to tell you why. There it sits right there, still waiting for the top end to be put back together. In one of my videos where I did a test on my heads on whether or not the valves were leaking and stuff like that, and I said I wasn't going to have them reworked because apparently they're still good, but after reading some of your comments and some of your suggestions and stuff like that, I decided, well, why not? The heck with it. I'm going to have a fresh top end from top to bottom, that is, of the top end. And lo and behold, what did I find out about those heads is that the valve seats in the heads are gone, man. I mean, apparently they've been reworked so many times in the past that somebody just ground the heck out of the seats on those heads, which explains why I was having some backfiring in my carburetor. So anyway, that's another story. Until I get those heads back, I guess I'm gonna have to find something else to do. So anyway, I'm out here in the garage, like I just said. Got this really cool stool that Dry Minnow sent me. Gonna put it to use. And what I'm going to do today is I'm gonna work on this motorcycle right here. My last video where I tested out the Road Glide against the Iron 883, in that video I made a comparison between the Tramp and the Iron 883, and I said it actually has a bit more pull than the Tramp does, but don't tell the Tramp. But I can fix that, which is another video coming up. This is that video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this sprocket right here, and I'm going to put it on that wheel right there. What I'm running right now is a 48 tooth rear sprocket with a 23 tooth front sprocket. This right here is a 47 tooth sprocket. So I'm going to go down one more tooth on the rear sprocket, and it's going to benefit me in two things. The one thing it's going to benefit me on is that it's going to give me some longer legs on the highway. You know, may drop my RPMs down just a little bit, just enough to give me a little bit more highway speed. And I actually used that 47 tooth sprocket when I had that motor in the Tramp. That motor's only a 4-speed. That motor isn't geared like this motor is. It just couldn't handle it. This motor right here actually is geared differently in the primary, so it can actually handle it because it's got, like I said, a 23 tooth front sprocket with a 48 on the back, okay? Well, that motor over there had a 22 tooth sprocket on the front and a 48 on the back wheel, and it did okay, you know. It wasn't no hot rod, but it just, you know, it was okay. But when I did a 23 on this motor and a 48 on the back, granted it's an 883, that one over there is supposed to be an 883. My first test run, I spun the wheel taking off. I was expecting to give it the same amount of gas as I would give that motor over there. So this thing's got some more pull than my old motor. So no doubt, I believe it's going to be able to handle that 47 tooth sprocket. But also the other benefit it's going to give me is when I put this chain on here, I cut it kind of short. Nevertheless, it wasn't too short. I still had some clearance with the back wheel against that fender. Here's the deal. I put this chain on here when the tire was already used. So it's getting close to me needing a new tire on this thing. And I'm afraid that when I get a new tire put on this thing, that it's not going to clear that fender. So that's another thing. I put a smaller sprocket on the back, which will give me some more adjustment going back, so I'll be okay, I believe, when I get a new tire. And that's because of a mistake I made when I built this bike, but I'm not going to go into the details. So without any further ado, I'm going to get this bike jacked up. I'm going to get this wheel off. I'm going to get that sprocket on there and take this thing for a test ride and tell you guys what I think, how it handles. in case if any of you are wondering what this is all about, what this is a tool used to clean your battery cable posts on your car and also your battery terminals. So what I'm using it for, I'm cleaning out the threads inside this hub to get rid of some of the residual Loctite that's still left over, or some of the old Loctites, before I go and put these bolts back in. I'm going to clean these bolts up too and put some new Loctite on it before I put that new sprocket on there. So in case anybody was wondering what the heck I was doing with that, that's what I'm doing with this. So anyway, business as usual. Okay, I've got the threads on my bolts cleaned up, so I had to go back and take a look at the manual. It says on a cast wheel you want about 65 to 70 foot-pounds of torque on your bolts. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to put some Loctite on these bolts, and then I'm going to run them down with a regular wrench, and then I'm going to pull out my torque wrench and put the wheel back on, and then we'll see where it goes from there. We've all been waiting for. So let's see if that sprocket makes any difference at all on the highway. Here we go. Okay, I do feel a bit of a difference in the RPMs at certain speeds. The motor definitely sounds different at 60 miles an hour. It's handling it very well coming down this road. Now, I don't know what it's going to do on the interstate. I'm doing about between 50 and 60 right now, only because I have traffic in front of me, and granted I'm on a 2-lane road. So when we get to the interstate, we'll try that out. I'll tell you guys what it's like. Seems to have an easier time keeping up the traffic on the interstate. I do know that my speedometer is 5 miles off. So if it says I'm doing 70, I'm more like doing 75. And I'm doing about 75, which means I'm doing about 80. The RPMs aren't as bad as they were, and yeah, it's pretty cool. I like what's going on here. It definitely feels different. Let's see what I can actually do. Well, 80, 85 doesn't feel like it's that hard to do. Well, anyway, my curiosity is satisfied. Maybe yours is too. I guess this concludes it. But that's that. Man, I appreciate you guys for hanging out in the garage with me while I tinker with this bike right here, and my curiosity has been satisfied. Maybe yours has been too. I know I already said that. But if you like what you've seen, feel free to give this video a thumbs up and perhaps share it on another forum somewhere. And if you're new to the channel, and if you like what you're seeing, hit subscribe for more content coming up. And like I usually say, and I have been saying, that I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to film next, but I will try to keep it interesting. But also feel free to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to be part of this community, check out my Patreon page. And those who are part of the Patreon will have early access to the latest content before it's uploaded on this channel. So anyway, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And I want you all to keep the rubber side down, and you be good to yourselves. And thanks a lot.